James Gunn wants Robert Pattinson's The Batman be the main face of the DC universe. So the reboot is confirmed, and Robert Pattinson is now what Iron Man was to Marvel. He's now going to be that, but with DC. So Variety dropped this major article claiming that Robert Pattinson's Batman might be in the DC universe, and Peter Safran and James Gunn apparently want this. So we're going to be reading that part. We're not going to read the rest of it. The rest is just saying things that we already know. But this is coming straight from Variety, one of the most reputable sources in Hollywood, saying, but at least one core element of the so-called Snyderverse is likely over. A well-placed source says Gunn and Safran are exploring the possibility of incorporating filmmaker Matt Reeves' iteration of the Batman with actor Robert Pattinson into their wider universe. And yeah, that's really the only part of the article that really says they're just... Again, let's be right now 1000%. This is only a possibility. This isn't confirmation. This is just a possibility. But we should put that on the radar just in case it gets announced that Pattinson's Batman will be in the DC universe. But anyways, to kind of just flesh out my thoughts, I love the Batman. I think it is a phenomenal movie, and it did complete the hat trick that every movie wants. It's good audience reception, good critic reception, and good financial stuff in the box office. And the Batman was able to manage the hat trick, and that's something DC has not been able to pull off. If you look at Birds of Prey, that movie flopped in the box office, and it was mixed with the audiences, but it did do well with the critics. And you could also look at Shazam. Shazam was loved by critics and audiences, but box office wise, it was not a flop, but also not a good number. With Black Adam, it didn't do well with the critics. Financially, it didn't do very well, but the audience did love the movie. So DC has been on kind of like a little steamroll where they haven't been able to pull off a hat trick. And you know, the Batman was able to do that. You know, Joker also did it, and the Batman also did it. But definitely, the Batman right now has a clear, promising future. A lot of the audiences loved it. I remember getting people who never watched comic book movies telling me that they really loved the Batman. I guarantee you it was also a big W for Nirvana, because that song, Something in the Way, was starting to get far more popular now. Like, a newer generation learned about that song that, you know, they just didn't know about, including myself. You know, I didn't really grow up in the time where Nirvana was popular. So really, I don't know what it's like to be in that era. So it was nice to kind of like be introduced with the Batman. Although I was introduced to that song before, when the first teaser came out back in 2020 at DC Fandom. But no, I love the Batman. I really liked it. And overall, I if they were to make, and by the way, let's take this as a big if. If they were to do this, I'm fine with it. And I know right now a lot of people are not liking that because the Batman established that it's its own thing. Other characters don't exist in it. Now, by the way, that's not confirmation. It seems like that, but they could also do a big turnaround and be like, hey, you know what? The other characters do exist. I actually use Man of Steel as an example because when Man of Steel came out, it wasn't announced that a DCEU was happening. Remember, it was kind of just, you know, Superman in his own movie. Zack Snyder came on to do a Superman movie, and he would reference like you obviously saw LexCorp. I think at one point you see Wayne Enterprise, like you see like the logo. But when that movie came out, it was just seen as, oh, Superman with his own solo movie. But then later on, you were able to incorporate, hey, Batman does exist. He's in Gotham. Wonder Woman does exist. She's just been in hiding. Aquaman does exist, but he's been in hiding. Barry Allen exists, except he's young and probably doesn't have his powers up until this point. You know, and that's the thing I like that they did with Zack Snyder's universe, where, yes, it started off as Superman's solo movie, but later on you little by little incorporated the other characters, and then eventually got Justice League. And I think you could do the same with the Batman. And even though it is very realistic, that doesn't mean a Superman can't exist. For all we know, maybe Superman's still, you know, in Metropolis, or, you know, he's not uncovered his powers or whatever. But if they were to go with the Batman route, this would more than likely mean reboot. And as we were talking yesterday, Patty Jenkins said that she's probably not just not, you know, she was just told that she's just not part of the plan. And that more than likely seems that DC reboot. And just seeing that, you know, Jason Momoa might be recast and he's going to be playing Lobo instead of Aquaman, or Gal Gadot is obviously not coming back as Wonder Woman. It just seems like that things are pointing to a reboot, which I've said for a while. I see it as a win. I'm going to follow what James Gunn is planning. I'm going to go and follow James Gunn. I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to put faith in him. And I know my fellow Snyder fans out there are annoyed at hearing me say that. But to me, all I have to do is put faith. That's all I can do. You know, I love the Snyderverse, and I want that universe to be restored. But at the end of the day, I also want to give James Gunn the same opportunity that I gave to Zack Snyder when he built out his universe. I want to see what James Gunn can do with these characters. And this doesn't mean that the Snyderverse is done and over. At the end of the day, they could still go back around and do it. Again, we still don't know what DC's plans are as of now. And it doesn't seem like they're heading to the Snyderverse route, but still, I don't like how people just immediately assume that reboot means they'll never do it again. If anything, I'd rather James Gunn just reboot, get a new cast, do something else with the characters, than just use what Zack Snyder built and just change things up in that universe. I don't know why people are so afraid of a reboot when we know that James Gunn, like, he's probably not going to do the same thing that Zack Snyder was going to do with these characters. If he was to have Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, if he was going to have these same actors, he would probably do something different with them. So I'd rather him just do something else. And I actually like going with the Batman route, where you have the Batman be a start off and continue with the DC universe out there. People already love this character. People already love this version of this character. And so to build on from that would just be intelligent, especially after the hat trick it had, And the Batman definitely was a major win for the studio at the time. Culturally, it was the most talked about movie for like 2 months, I think. So, yeah, I mean, the Batman really was a major W for Warner Bros. And so I see it as an intelligent business move. If they were to do a reboot, I think it would make much more sense to have a reboot with Pattinson's Batman than to reboot with just, I guess, a new Batman. I mean, you already have a Batman here, And I feel like right now audiences are starting to get like, you're kind of over fatiguing Batman in a way. You already have Ben Affleck returning in The Flash. You already have Michael Keaton returning in The Flash. And you now have a Pattinson Batman. I feel like you can't just be casting new Batmans over and over and over again. And to me, I feel like it's a nice way to just have Pattinson be a start off, especially because the movie doesn't specifically say that other characters can't exist. I mean, let's not deny it. In the Batman 2, I mean, remember, there's confirmation that Clayface is going to be in the Batman. Clayface is a pretty absurd character, if you ask me. And for all we know, they're probably going with different things. They're different routes. Like, maybe we'll see Mr. Freeze. Like, everyone wants Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is a pretty absurd character, in DC Comics, although they'll probably doing a little more realistic. I don't know how they're going to make Mr. Freeze more realistic, but, yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know why people see it as an impossibility of doing that when I feel like they didn't specify that, hey, this can't happen, It's not like the Batman was like this pure realistic movie. Remember, there's a point in the movie where he like hits his head on like this metal thing underneath like the train tracks, and he hits his head and falls. That would have killed anyone regardless of what protection you have. That would have bent your neck and you would have died immediately right then and there. That's not realistic at all. Like, come on, man. And also, Batman was able to survive an explosion that was, like, up close to him. So it's not like, not only that, but Batman, let's not deny it, whether we want to deny it or not. The Batman is a pretty unrealistic character. The guy can bench press 1,000 pounds. The guy has these incredible skills. And like, no human being like Batman exists. No human being. Let's not even deny it. But yeah, I mean, and also let's not deny it. I know I'm saying that word a lot. I apologize, but if the Batman was realistic, people would have figured out his identity, because the minute he FaceTimed Riddler publicly, people would have seen that jawline. They would have seen his face. People would have taken pictures and been like, all right, investigate. And they would have figured out that Bruce Wayne is the Batman. So, yeah, the Batman isn't exactly 1,000% accurate. If they want to go into a realistic DC universe where you have Pattinson be the start off of that, I think it's a cool way. And also, it'll show that James Gunn's style of filmmaking isn't going to be implemented in everything, because I guarantee you Matt Reeves is going to be like, no, I want to do my thing, and I'll let you do other things, just that when it comes to his movies, let him do his own thing. So overall, I just don't see why not go with the Pattinson route if you are going to do a full-on reboot. I'm excited if they do this, but as of now, it's just speculation. Anyways, you guys let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about this? Do you think James Gunn should do this? Or, what do you believe? Whatever it is, let us know in the comment section down below. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.